Good morning. This is Marie with the Range Church, and I want to read a little verse. This is going to be kind of a different video this morning, from James chapter 5, verse 16. So confess your offenses to one another and pray for one another so that you may be healed. The effective prayer of a righteous man is very powerful. A righteous man is someone, or woman, is someone who is a follower of Christ. You have become righteous when you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior. And I need prayer requests for my mother today. Yesterday, on our way to leave the house to go to church, my mom is 85. She has dementia. She has some, arthritis and that kind of stuff, but the Alzheimer's is pretty advanced. But we were on our way to church, and she tripped on the door jamb as we were going out the back door. I tried to grab her, and it kind of spun her around towards me when I grabbed her arm, but I couldn't hold her up, and she fell and went straight over backwards and whacked her head on the porch, which is made of concrete. I heard her head hit the floor and hit that concrete, and that set. I thought she was dead right there, the way that she just laid there and she wasn't breathing, and her head was kind of canted to the right, and her eyes were up in the back of her head, and I couldn't see her breathing, and I was just beside myself trying to get her to respond to me and to call 911. And I was it took, I don't know how long it was. To me it seemed like forever, but she finally did take a breath. So I think the fall knocked the air out of her, and so she finally took a breath, but it wasn't normal breathing. She was just trying to inhale sharply, and but her eyes were rolled up in her head, and I couldn't get her to respond the whole time while I was waiting for the ambulance. And she finally started coming around, and she was screaming and yelling and trying to get up and hitting me and trying, whenever I would try to touch her or try to help her, she would hit me and scream at me. And I finally helped her up into a sitting position and got a pillow for her to lean back against the door. And then the ambulance got there, and of course she was very combative and screaming at them. And we finally got her onto the stretcher, and they were taking her to the hospital, which is in Arkansas from where I live. And they called me and said she started vomiting, and so they were going to life flight her to Tulsa. And so I was like, okay, Tulsa's 3 hours from me. And then a few minutes later, I got another call and said they had to intubate her. And so they were taking her, they thought she had a brain bleed, so they were taking her to the neuro center in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And so once they got up there, they told me, just wait, because they had a lot of tests and stuff to do, and that's almost a 3-hour drive from me to Fayetteville. And my sister lives in Alaska, my brother lives in Tennessee, so we're kind of spread out. And so I had called my sister and told her what was going on, and she called our brother. And so by the time they started running tests on her immediately when they got to Fayetteville, and she did have a subarachnoid brain bleed down by the brainstem, and it's inoperable because of where it is. They said the only thing they can do is put if in between the lobes of the brain begins to swell, they can put a drain in there if necessary. She is in the ICU. She's on a ventilator. And my sister will be here on Tuesday. My brother is on the way there, and I will pick my sister up Tuesday morning at the airport. So what we have decided to do is give my mom a couple of days of rest. to see how she's going to do, and to see if they can take her off the ventilator if she can breathe on her own. And from there we will make the decision. She does have a DNR. She has told us many times that she does not want to be kept alive by artificial means. And that if her heart stops, they are only allowed to use the paddles one time, and if that doesn't bring her back, then to let her go. This is a very difficult decision to make, when it's your mama. No matter how old you get, your mother's still your mother. And so I'm just asking that you would just pray for my mom, for the doctors that are taking care of her. But mostly I want to pray for the Lord's will be done. That if the Lord is going to take my mama, to please just go, and to let her go, not to keep her here, not to let her suffer. I want to make the right decision for my mom. I want for the right thing to be done, but they have said at this point that even if she is able to breathe on her own, she will never be able to walk again. She will have very little quality of life. And I know for myself, I also have a DNR, and that for myself, I would not want to be kept alive just so that I can sit in a wheelchair for God only knows how many years until I finally just wither away and stop breathing. I would rather it just happen before any of that. And I know that's my mom's wishes too. So I just would like to request prayer for my mother, for God's will to be done, for God to take her quickly if he's going to, and if he's not, to restore her to at least the same health she was before the fall. So I hope you all have a blessed week, and if you have any prayer requests, please leave them in the comments below. Give us a like, a share, and subscribe if you're so inclined, and have a beautiful week.